Well, good morning. We are here on day 2. We survived. As you can probably see from this region, it is snowing, kind of. There's some snow, freezing rain thing. I don't know. It's a little chilly, and it's precipitating, whatever manner you want to call it. So we're gonna get going here, and Chris is gonna get this fire going. I'm gonna run down the mountain to the bottom to go get Cody and bring him up here. At which point we're gonna continue pretending that we're up here to hunt and not just hang out and run around. We might actually, especially if this weather holds out like this and stays blustery, we might make a stand, try to call some stuff in, just see what happens. But first priority is fire and breakfast and the camaraderie of our long-lost compatriot, Cody. I was pretty warm last night with this 15-degree bag, even though it got down a little below 30. I got my puffy vest for a pillow. I don't know why I didn't bring a pillow or car camping, so note to self, do that. Also, just let it be known, this is not fun. It's kind of a pain, in all honesty, but chicks dig it, so we'll keep doing it. For all of our viewers out there, I think we can see which one is the smart one of the group. Because I am still underneath my tarp in my sleeping bag, and Cody is out there getting the fire going. So just remember, brains of the group's over here. Cody or Chris might be the looks. It's yet to be determined what Cody is. Bringer of beer, worker at Gilgamesh. Alright, I mustered the energy to get out of my sleeping bag. I don't know how, but I did. I am I'm the David Goggins of camping, if you will. So Chris laughing because we're listening to David Goggins, and I promised him this time that our book on tape, or I guess audiobook, I'm a little old school, audiobook that we were going to listen to while we were driving around and doing stuff, I wasn't going to just keep listening to it when he wasn't in the truck, so he can actually stay on top of this. And I already
finished one.
Actually finished one. So I've already read the David Goggins book, so the audiobook one is just kind of a re-listen for me, so I can commit to this one. He's gonna get to finish it. Anyway, he got this beautiful fire going. Look at that. It's got nice and damp on all the extra wood we had out here for this morning. Luckily we had the tote with just a little bit of dried stuff that we were able to fit in there, but it's a struggle bus this morning to get this fire to really take off, which I really want, because I don't want to have to bust out the jet oil to make my coffee today. I'd really like to do it with some pomp and circumstance, a little bit of a fire. Now that it's light out though, I can show you the rest of camp in a way that doesn't look insane. There's Chris's tent looking all tently, and then there is my tarp setup, which is looking mighty saggy this morning with the weight of that kind of frozen rain and snow on it. But no, it's a good setup. I like the tarp. It's just very pleasant being able to just wake up and look outside and see whatever's happening. And I got up this morning at like 5 and looked around with my headlamp and saw it snowing. I mean, it was just stuff you don't see encased inside your tent. So Chris is over here just doing what he can to make that fire happen. He's the man. Pro tip 8001. Find a good buddy to go out with and then make them do all the cool stuff. That is my pro tip for the day. Chris has been invaluable out in the field. Good dude. So I'm gonna leave to go get Cody. I think I'm gonna leave the camera with Chris, so he's gonna do something cool while I'm gone. Just hold your breath. It's gonna be awesome.
So here we are in the Oregon mountains. It's snowing, and Jeff left me for dead. Just took off. No, I'm kidding. He didn't. He just went to go get Cody. But what he did leave me with is this fire we've been working on all morning. Now, the thing about this is, you know, everything's cold, everything's wet, so it takes a lot of maintenance, a lot of time to try to keep it running. And what I've been doing is, you know, you go out and you collect different sticks, different size stuff, and it's kind of all around here, a lot of dead and down. And so what I've been doing is you just kind of take a lot of it. I'll show you here. A lot of this kind of stuff, the bigger stuff, you set around the edges to kind of do a little bit of preheating. You know, some of these bigger logs and things here. You know, this was sopping wet, but now it's on fire because it's been, you know, sitting in or next to the fire for quite a while. And then as you go, you know, you have some wet stuff, or was wet, and you just throw it in there and keep piling it up so you have a good bed of coals, heating everything up. The other thing that I've been doing is, you know, if you have some bigger stuff like this here that's wet, and you know it's just super wet, you know, just sitting around the edge isn't going to do you any good. So what I've been doing is putting it on top so that it preheats everything, and then that's going to be the next thing to go. You know, one of these pieces back in here was the same way, maybe another, you know, 10-15 minutes ago, but it just all evaporates out. So it's just knowing how to build a fire, how to preheat, and just kind of how, you know, the mechanics of fires work. But what I will say is, you know, being prepared is always a good thing. You know, we didn't expect snow up here in the coast, but, you know, bringing a nice jacket, bringing some waterproof clothing, some gloves, stuff like that, especially if it's lightweight, that's definitely an important thing to do. You know, you don't want to be caught out here in the snow, in the rain, in, you know, nasty conditions, and have to call your hunt or not be able to do what you want to do because just because it rained a little bit. And especially in the Northwest, you know. In the Northwest it's always unpredictable. Just if it doesn't rain, there's something wrong. So so Jeff will be back soon with Cody. I'm gonna set up some tea here and have a nice little morning. Pro tip for y'all, especially those who wear leather boots. In the mornings, especially on cold days, you'll see that your boots are really stiff. And throughout the day, your boots will loosen up. So don't forget, you know, to tighten them back up as you go so you don't lose your ankle support or anything like that. But what I generally do, especially on cold days, is I'll take my boots, I'll just put them on, I'll leave them unlaced and shove the laces down in. And then that way, after you've been walking around for 10-15 minutes, you know, you can just kind of pull on them, lace them up, and then you have less issues. I noticed a lot when I was younger that I used to have a lot of issues getting blisters, and, you know, different things would wear in odd ways, and it's just because your boots are loose. And you're like, well, I mean, my boots fit, why is this happening? Well, it's probably because you put them on when they're cold, they warm up, the leather expands, and then becomes more malleable. So keep that in mind.
Alright, so we had this kettle going for some hot water for some coffee and tea this morning. Got a little too hot, a little plastic starting to go on that, but the double stick setup worked out pretty good. Set this there. Alright, and just a little bit of the Vias, what we got today, Columbia. And super nice dual purpose packaging here. Well, just that in the trash bag. Easy peasy, nice hot drink in the morning. It's the little things. So while the coffee's brewing and Chris's tea is steeping, we thought it'd be a good idea to run through the system we use to hang the kettle over the fire without having to use rope. I don't ever like having to cut pieces of rope when you're out here, unless it's really important, because you can't put it back on the rope. So we did this with sticks and stuff that we had at hand. Over here we ran this branch out over the fire with this Y log here as a wedge. You can also do this with 2 logs if you have 1 log in the front and 1 log in the back to act as your kind of cantilever there. This goes out over the fire, and then over on this side we picked this one because it has this Y fork here that helps capture the other Y fork on the stick that dangles down. So that's the top of it and just stays there. It's real easy to swing out of the way if you wanted to not have to get your hand in the fire. Then this stick is kind of the magic one that the pot hangs from. So this fork hangs like that from the fork in the long branch. And then I cut this hook right here into the bottom to hold the pot. So this one is kind of cut like kind of a fish hook shape, so it captures the end, and then it's pointed here so that it doesn't rock off as the kettle shakes on the fire. So by doing this, that sits in there, this sits on the log, and then that suspends it over the fire. And then you can adjust the height if need be with this log, especially if you have a 2 log setup and you can change the angles and raise or lower that cantilever. So that's the way I like to do it, as opposed to having to do a tripod and tie the tripod off and then hang something from that. This just ends up being a lot easier, and then we'll just throw this all in the fire and be done with it. All right, so we broke camp, put out our fire, used some of the extra water from the big jug, put out the fire, make sure it's good now. I mean, obviously it's snowing, raining mix up here, so I don't think it's going anywhere. We are heading out to our first stand, a little clear cut over here. We actually heard coyotes last night as we were getting ready for bed, a couple 100 yards off to the north. There's not really a good spot over there to set up. Everything's so dense out here. You just don't really have any distance to set the call away from you and then shoot them from there. So we are going to go out to a clear cut that is kind of northwest, thinking that obviously those coyotes are going to have a bit of a range. We're going to go set up over there. We're going to have the rifle predominantly. Chris is going to run that. I'm going to have
my bow with me just in case anything kind of comes in from behind and gets close enough, though I'm not gonna hold out hope for getting a close shot on a coyote with my bow. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We did a little bit of shooting earlier today too, so we're kind of having a lazy camping trip, but it's a good time. We're getting out in the field, we're testing some gear, just doing stuff out in the woods, which is half the battle. The cougar / coyote hunt was really just our excuse to get out here and have a good time. Alright, so we're here ready to step off. Chris is running the rifle. I've got the call here. So we're gonna cruise on over here to this landing and see if it's a good view. Probably send Cody down there because he's the new guy. He's gonna have to run back up it to drop the call about 100 yards away and then hope that a coyote comes in. I mean, it's...
See what we see,
Yeah, we don't have a super high odds, but I think Cody running up and down hill sounds like a good time at the very least. So
yeah. I'm down with that.
yeah. The snow is going hard now. I actually kind of feel bad that we made Cody go do this. I mean, it would have been one of us, but I don't know. I just kind of feel for him because he's going all the way over that long way. Side step. That stump. That's right there. That's where he's going. So that way we can kind of broadcast the call out through the rest of this clear cut and all of that timber, where hopefully they'll come up out of those creek bottoms there. It's nice in the off season, fall, because you can tell where the creek bottoms are, because you can see where all the deciduous trees are leafless. It's kind of your map of your creek bottoms, and then your hillsides have all of the Doug firs and whatnots. Let's see where Cody's. Let's check back in with Cody. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Look at that trooper just cruising. This was also not only the easy route, but we also picked this spot because our wind is going from left to right, as you see it on the screen. Super steady, super hard. You can obviously see all the wind, or all the snow is moving that direction as well. So this is a good approach. He's not going to spread the wind into the area at all, and have good entrance and exit without getting busted. And we'll have a really nice vantage point from where we're at. Well, I've had just about enough of that. So we've done a couple sets on a couple of these little clear cuts with the collar. I don't know, we need to figure out how to do this because apparently we're not doing it right somehow. The only two coyote situations that I've had, neither one of them involved a call. The first one, I stalked in on one that was calling, shot it. And
Second one, we called in with your hand.
And the second one, we were deer hunting, and we had them come in, and then I did this like little palm squeak thing, like very old school mountain man trick, and they came right into like 12 yards. Then you didn't shoot it because you wanted to hold out for a deer and didn't want to ruin the whole thing. But in retrospect, we should have shot it.
Should have shot it.
every hunt is a coyote hunt once a coyote shows up. But yeah, no luck today. And honestly, I'm a little over the snow and the cold, and I want to go home and have a hot drink and
Dinner.
That sounds great. So I think we're gonna call it for the weekend. So any final thoughts, words of wisdom, my friends out there?
No, just get out there, do what you can, and keep going.
The more it sucks, the more fun it is, or that's what I keep telling Chris.
That's what he keeps telling me.
I'll see you guys next time. If you liked the video, obviously same rules as always. Subscribe below, comment, let us know, one, what the hell we're supposed to be doing with coyote hunting, because we're bad at that. If we did anything else super foolish, let us know. Whatever you think. If you think Chris should keep growing his beard out longer, let him know, so we can keep getting that peer pressure going. Other than that, we'll until next time.
Until next time.
Skull.
Skull.